You've already put up the curtains. Our fiesta is still a week away.
Mother, should have told you about this, but you went out with Mr. Castro right after his merienda.
Then what I heard in Tobacco Shed of Camaring Rosa is true?
About Tia's Marta's coming here tonight?
Yes, everybody was asking if Carlos and his mother are really coming tonight. That's why I had to hurry home. I left your father and Mr. Castro at the station. Tell me, Anita, do you really love Carlos? Do you think you won't regret?
Regret, Mother? Regret what?
Choosing a wrong man, of course.
How can I be wrong in my choice when Carlos has been courting me?
Because he is the only man courting you does not mean he is the right man for you. There's so many things to consider when choosing a husband. His character, for example, his education.
You surprise me, Mother. Carlos and everything about him is an open book to us. He has been helping us with our firewood and with the water from our artesian's well. What else is there to know more about him?
You should pause and weigh the matter very carefully, Anita. Choosing a husband is not as easy as tasting the food you cook. You should ask yourself a question such as, can he support you? Can he make you and your children happy by giving what you need? Can he...
Mother, are you raising objections against Carlos?
Carlos is hard-working young man. He does not gamble. He does not drink.
You mean to tell me to turn down Carlos, Mother?
When I had to choose my husband, your grandmother gave me the same advice I am giving you now, Anita. But I love your father as only a young girl could, so I did not listen to your grandmother. Even if I knew your father is too poor compared to my other suitors. To me, poverty should not stand between me and my man.
That is true. Happiness is not built on money alone.
That's what I thought too when I was at your age, Anita. I wish I listened to your grandmother, Anita.
But Mother, I thought in spite of our poverty, you were happy.
I never regretted in choosing your father, Anita. But what a great difference if there had been enough money for the food that we really should have had and enough to spend for you and your sister through high school so that you can stand shoulder to shoulder with others. A mother is happy only when her family have all that they really need.
But in my case, I cannot be choosy.
You are still young, Anita.
I'm already 18.
18 is too young to marry.
When you married Father, you're only 16.
Times have changed, Anita. Nowadays, girls of your age should not hurry into married life, especially when the man is concerned like Carlos, who is penniless as we are.
But if you don't like Carlos, why did you encourage him and allow him to help us in our daily chores?
That is all part of our conventions. A young man must show his sincerity not only to the woman he is courting, but also to her whole family. This has always been so. Unfortunately, we have realized that Carlos is not the man for you.
But what I should say to him and to his mother when they come? Can't you see what situations I'm in right now?
Your father and I will take care of that.
You and Father?
You do not seem to agree with me, Anita.
But I cannot understand you. You overlook one thing that suppose Carlos and I have talked about this and that.
You mean promises or engagement? You know, I have trusted you, Anita. I know you'd not keep a secret like that from me.
But I have grown to understand Carlos. This morning while washing my clothes in the river, he told me that he was sending his mother tonight. And I'm so glad and I said yes to him. Mother, I want to tell you about this string, but you were always busy today.
You can return that to him.
You don't mean it. Why? You don't ever seem to understand behind this. I mean, my receiving the ring.
Do not make the same mistake as I have done, Anita. Believe me, when a woman grows with disappointment and hunger hounding her, love flies out her window. You will understand me when you know how it feels to be a mother who cannot feed her daughter, cannot give them an education beyond that of small barrier school. Your father and I expect you to be obedient to us, Anita. But if you're only thinking of yourself, then go ahead. Marry anybody you like. After all, it is your own life.
I didn't mean to disregard you and Father. You know that.
If you're thinking of us, then do not accept Carlos. This is not what we expect from you, Anita. Please understand that we're doing this for your own good and for all of us. You have not been aware of it, but Carlos is not the only one who wants you, loves you.
Another man? Who?
Mr. Castro.
Mr. Castro?
It is but natural that you should be surprised. Before you say anything, let me finish this. Mr. Castro talked about his intentions 3 days ago. He
Mother, are you forgetting that Mr. Castro has a wife?
I know what I am doing, Anita. Oh no, I'm not out of my mind. Please be patient with me a little so that you will understand. The tobacco field and the land where this house stands, you know that they are mortgaged to Mr. Castro. Since your father's accident, we have already borrowed an amount 3 times its assessed value. Legally, Mr. Castro now owns our land, but
You are selling for the land.
Mr. Castro's offer is decent.
Decent? You call that decent when he has a wife? So that's why recently he used to look like as if I were half naked. And the time when he requested me to massage his necks, oh, how must you enjoy them? And you are willing me to send me to him.
You do not trust me. You have no faith in me.
This is the most absurd, the most unbelievable story I've ever heard. My own parents telling me to marry the man who is married.
It is true, Anita. Mr. Castro wants to marry you.
Father, why are you doing this to me? Practically offering me in exchange of the tobacco field in the house lot.
Where is Mr. Castro? Why are you alone?
He took a bus for home. His last instruction was to tell Anita, "Do not think that your mother and I have not considered all sides. We took this for 2 nights already. Debated an action we will take. The news of Carlos sending his mother made us decide. This is the time that you must listen. As Anita, we love you, even though my heart is crying because of what we are doing, but we can't help it. There are things that have to be done in spite that they are wrong."
I had always been obedient to your wish, Father, out and much to which you would like. To push me is positively not one of the decisions that I quietly swallow.
But Mrs. Castro is a very sick woman.
Sick, perhaps not dead.
True, my little Anita, but Mrs. Castro have not recovered from his operation last month, and presently, she is so sick that she is sinking so fast, and the doctor warned Mr. Castro to prepare for the worst.
That bit of news must have made him terribly happy.
Be fair, daughter. Hear me out without further interruptions. Soon, in a matter of weeks, a few months at most, Mrs. Castro will die. It is Mr. Castro's wish that you should wait. We've told him about Carlos, so before you can make up your mind.
What cruel, adulterous thoughts!
Which only goes to show how sincere he is to you.
Mother, can't you, a married woman yourself, understand that Mr. Castro's intentions are honest?
Are we not pressing her too much, Julia? The child is right.
Now, Santos, are you weakening from our decisions?
But the child's happiness is at stake. It's her future.
I know that. That is why we must decide for her. She is young and most likely she will commit blunders that I had made. As a mother, I know what is good for my daughter. That is why we have to choose the better man for her. The man who can make her happy.
Anita, my child, let us forget the present. Let's think of the future. Your future. Mr. Castro is only 45. He is good looking and is reputed to be kind and charitable. Everybody around speaks very well of him. You will not marry a good man, but you will marry into something.
Don't you see that it is all for your own good?
You are not thinking of me, Mother. You are thinking of the tobacco field in the house lot. I cry because you refuse to listen my side, and I am.
Yours are selfish tears.
Alright, I'm selfish. I'm unreasonable, but the two of you, more selfish, more unreasonable.
Kumari Julia!
Who is it?
Good evening, Kumari Julia.
Good evening. I'll meet you there. Good evening. What has brought the barrio captain at this hour?
You must pardon me for coming at this inopportune time, but mine is a mission which I am only too glad to perform even in my own humble capacity. I have 2 companions.
Well, what do we have here?
Kumare, this is the night that we should celebrate, for it was written long ago that there is to be a night as this.
You know your compare. When he is tired and worried, he likes to lie down. He must have those off.
This is my house, and here I am being served by my own visitors.
Carlos himself roasted this. He had been fattening this for 2 months. Julia, you're not drinking.
I don't take liquor. It burns my tongue and throat. And besides, drinking becomes an easy habit, you know.
It is not really very strong. See? This is practically my second glass, and I don't feel the strong taste anymore.
Kumare is not like her mother, Olang Bosha. May she rest in peace. My, how that old woman could mix with the man in the tuba store of Sinto. Do you remember that time when your father, your mother, and you went to Kumare's house? You brought 2 gallons of tuba, but you told me it was not enough. Olang Bosha drank more than your own father.
That was 21 years ago.
That story which has been repeated and repeated and shall always be repeated as long as there are the young. It appears that Carlos here had been wandering into many gardens, but his attention was caught by only one flower, and this flower blooms in your garden. He asked me and his mother to ask the owners of this flower that he be allowed to pluck the flower so that he could go on enjoying it and water it with his love and devotion, so that someday this flower will bear fruits that will give life to another.
Indeed, Santos and I are honored, but
But the flower you speak of has not fully blossomed yet. She is only a bud.
not yet ready to be plucked.
Younger blossom have been plucked before, Julia. You know that because you were only 16, remember?
I remember that very well, but Anita is still very much unprepared, probably 2 or 3 years more.
But Kumare, you must understand that we have come here not only for our own, with Carlos here told us that.
I know what Carlos said to you, but what Anita said to Carlos this morning was done in a spur of the moment. She regrets that she was swept off her feet momentarily.
I don't believe that. Tia Julia, are you turning me down?
Does not mean, of course, Carlos, that we don't like you.
There is mistake somewhere. I must see Anita first.
Seeing her won't do you any good.
You mean that Anita also turning me down? I don't believe you. Let me speak to her.
Yes, why don't you let Anita speak? After all, we come here not only with her knowledge out, but also with her
I
consent.
cannot believe either of you. You are lying.
Calm down, Carlos. It is very clear that you have been rejected.
But of course, Kumare, you must have some reasons against Carlos. Has he displeased you, or is there another man?
We have nothing against Carlos. Believe me, we want to have Anita a little bit longer. She is very young yet.
Dogs? Dogs? Let us go. It is very clear that they don't like Carlos because we are poor.
Don't let the wine carry you, Martha. We are as poor as the poorest in this place. You know that.
Carlos and Anita have already reached an understanding. You're not the only one unreasonable standing between them, but you are insulting us.
You don't need to shout, Martha. We're not deaf.
Please, mother, control yourself.
You are putting before the ridicule of everybody. Tomorrow, they will laugh at us. Is that what you want?
You're drunk, Martha.
When you call me a drunk, don't say it as if you were somebody clean and mighty. I know you, Julia, from head to foot.
Please, mother, we can settle anything unless...
Settle anything? There's nothing to settle. Don't be a fool, Carlos. You still not understand?
Carlos is right, Manang. We can talk softly and gently. Things can be settled by soft words.
Don't tell me what to do. I would not have been dragged here to be insulted by this whore.
You're stepping out of bounds, Martha. Don't forget this is my house.
Don't worry, Santos. I will spoil myself to stay longer in your house. You are angry with me because you think I am telling a lie? I wonder how much you know about your wife.
Go if you want to go.
Ah, you're afraid to know about your wife? Do you suspect your wife? You shouldn't. She is a very good wife, so good as she knows how to earn easily when her husband is in the hospital.
Full of a woman, you don't know what you're saying. Kumare, kumpare, Martha has won too much already. She really don't know what she's saying.
I know what I'm talking about. Ask her, Santos, how many times the doctor motored in this house while you were in the hospital.
Stop your dirty mouth, Martha.
Ah, you're both angry at the truth. See, Santos, she is silent because it is the truth and she cannot deny the truth. And she has the nerve turning us down?
Come back here, liar! 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 Come back here, liar! Why do you go away?
Anita, your parents turning me down. I cannot understand it. Tell me if it's not so with you. Why did you say something?
But it is true, Carlos.
It is not true. It is not. I cannot believe you, Anita. But we love each other. Only this morning you sent my mother here so that we can talk things over.
Please don't make it difficult, Carlos. I choose the wrong man.
If you're thinking of your future, you won't allow yourself to be tied down to your parents' wishes.
Oh, Carlos, you don't understand now. Things is overcomplicated.
Anita!
He can blow us fad.
And with the water from artisan's well, what else is there to know more to? With the water from artisan's well, what else? Sorry, no.
Well,
What?
2.
ano ka na yun?
3, no?
If you're thinking of us,
So that's recently he used to look like as if I were half naked.
naked.
We took this for 2 nights already, debated on action we were take. The news of Carlos sending his mother made us
Isa pa. 2, 3, and...
That bit of news must have made him terribly happy.
Be fair, daughter.
Mrs. Castro will die. It is Mr. Castro wish that you should wait. We told him
Hinay mo na.
Kampal. Kampal.
Okay na to?
Behind, but mine is a mission which
Ulit. Balik ka doon.
Well, what do we have here?
kumare, this is the night that we should celebrate. Why not? Pwede sa ako na lang.
Sa'yo na lang.
You know your compare. When he is tired and worried, he likes to lie down. Ano gani?
Worried.
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 Worried. I don't take liquor. It burns my tongue and hindi makadlaw.
That's it, Lita. Kasi may... 1, 2, 3, and...
See, this is practically my second glass.
May ka pala. Isa pa.
We have nothing against Carlos. Believe me. We want to...
Yan, dito lang po sa inyo.
Isa pa pare. Ah? 1, 2, 3, and...
Don't lie.
Please, mother, control yourself.
Naya, please.
Okay. 1, 2, 3, and...
Please, mother, control yourself.
Full of a woman. You don't know what her saying.
Isa pa.
Dali ka lang ito. Anita, your parents turning me down. I cannot understand it. Anita, your parents turning me down. I cannot understand it. Tell me.
Ulit.
Anita, your parents turning me down. I cannot understand it. Tell me. Tell me if it's not so with you. It is not true. Why did you say something?
Alam mo na